Voters in Wisconsin will head to the polls in November, and as we've been reporting, you will now have to show a photo ID to cast a ballot.
On Friday, a federal appeals court reinstated Wisconsin's voter ID law. Now the state is taking action to make it easier to get an ID. News 8's Kyle Dimke joins us with more.
Mike and Lisa, Wisconsin's voter ID law passed in 2011. The same year, the Department of Motor Vehicles began issuing free ID cards with a birth certificate. Last week, the DMV and Department of Health Services announced a new process focusing on those who don't have any sort of birth document. The DMV says it doesn't know how many people will apply, but they're ready. No matter when a ruling was issued on Wisconsin's voter ID law, the state's Department of Motor Vehicles had a plan in place.
We've been working on this for several weeks and wanted to just start implementing it, and no matter what the court decision was going to be, we were going forward with this process.
Wisconsin residents needing a state ID can apply at the DMV.
They would have to bring in several documents with them. They would have to bring in proof of their residency, which would be a utility bill, bank statement, something like that. Also proof of identity, which would be a student ID, social security card, W-2 form, paycheck stub, things like that.
Applicants would also need to supply their social security number.
We would do a verification with our online system with Social Security to make sure that their name and date of birth matched who they were telling us they were.
Once the paperwork is filed, your picture is taken and it's all sent to the Department of Health Services.
Once we got confirmation back from Health Services, we would be able to issue the product to the customer.
The DMV says it doesn't expect many applications to come in because since 2011, it's issued over 290,000 free state IDs to voters with a birth certificate.
We were looking for a process to help the residents of Wisconsin if they would need something to vote, and by partnering with Department of Health Services, we were able to come up with this system and still keep the integrity of our product because of all the background checks we can make on this.
The DMV says for a person born in Wisconsin, it should only take about a week to receive their ID. For someone born outside of the state, the time frame depends on how quickly the other state verifies that person's identity.
All right, thank you, Kyle. A reminder, this process is only for people without a birth certificate. Here's a list of IDs that will be accepted at polling places: a state driver's license, military or state ID, U.S. passport or certificate of citizenship, an ID from a federally recognized Native American tribe in Wisconsin, or a college ID with proof of enrollment. For questions or to find a complete list of acceptable IDs, go to the DMV's website at wisconsindmv.gov.